So, you're looking to buy your first home here in Houston. You're probably thinking about one thing above all else. How do you save money without making a huge, costly mistake? Well, that's exactly why we're going to break down a really key decision, choosing between a traditional agent and what's called a flat fee agent.
If you're nodding your head right now, then you already know this can be a pretty overwhelming process. I mean, the Houston market is just huge, it's incredibly spread out, and frankly, it can be pretty complex.
And look, if it feels overwhelming, that's because it is. Houston's market has its own unique set of curveballs, right? You've got this massive geographic sprawl, home prices that can swing wildly from one street to the very next, a ton of new construction to sort through, and then the big ones. Really high property taxes, and of course the constant need to think about flood zones. It is a lot to handle on your own.
Okay, so to navigate all of that, you get a real estate agent. But, and this is a big but, how that agent gets paid can fundamentally change your entire home buying experience. So let's look at the two main models out there.
You basically have two options. On one hand, you've got the traditional agent. They're typically paid a percentage of the final sale price, so their service often revolves around extensive property touring. On the other hand, you have the flat fee agent. They're paid a fixed dollar amount, so they tend to focus their expertise on the most critical parts of the deal, the contract and the negotiation.
So let's be crystal clear about what we mean here. Flat fee representation is simply a model where the agent dedicates their time and their expertise to the riskiest, most financially significant stages of buying a home. And they do it all for a predictable, set price.
Now you might be thinking, flat fee? Does that mean I get less professional service? Not at all. As you can see, you're still getting the expert guidance right where it counts the most, from pricing and offer strategy, all the way to reviewing inspections and managing all that coordination with the lender and title company. The real difference is in how you pay for that expertise, not the quality of it.
So the big question is, who is this model really for? Is this for you? As we go through these next few scenarios, just ask yourself, does this sound like me?
All right, let's dive in and see if any of this rings a bell. First up, you're kind of a self-starter. You're already spending your weekends hitting up open houses or walking through new model homes all on your own. If you're already doing that discovery work yourself, you might not really want to pay for a service you aren't fully using.
Okay, this one is huge, especially for first-time buyers. Your cash to close is one of the biggest hurdles in Houston, thanks in large part to our high property taxes and insurance costs. I mean, saving for the down payment is hard enough, right? A flat fee model can directly help lower the amount of cash you need to bring on closing day. And here's exactly how that works. Sellers will typically offer a commission to the buyer's agent. Now, if that offered amount is more than your agent's flat fee, you could potentially get that difference back as a credit at closing. It's a really powerful way to reduce your out-of-pocket costs, though keep in mind it's always subject to your lender's approval.
This next point is a little subtle, but it is incredibly important. You want your agent's financial interests to be perfectly aligned with yours. And what's your number one goal? Getting the best possible deal on that house. Let's see how the numbers play out.
Okay, just look at this example. In a traditional model, when an agent negotiates the price down by $10,000, their own commission also takes a small hit. It's a subtle misalignment. But with a flat fee, the agent's pay is totally fixed. Their only financial incentive is to get you the lowest price possible. Period. Their goals are your goals.
Oh, this is a classic Houston scenario. You're touring a beautiful new build, and the on-site salesperson is super friendly, super helpful. It's so easy to think you don't need your own agent. But you have to remember, the builder's rep works for the builder. Having your own expert to review that builder's contract, well, that's just invaluable.
You know, ultimately, this all comes down to managing risk. The biggest danger for a first-time homebuyer isn't missing out on one specific house. It's making a really expensive mistake in the contract, during the inspection, or at the negotiation table.
And these are the big ones we see all the time. Misinterpreting flood zone data, getting totally surprised by HOA rules and fees, not negotiating effectively after an inspection, or maybe the worst, simply missing a critical deadline in the contract. This is exactly where a flat fee agent focuses their energy, on managing that risk for you.
And you know, finally, it just comes down to personality and preference. If you're someone who values knowing all the costs up front and you're comfortable communicating through email and text, this model might be a perfect fit. It's really for the buyer who values structured, expert guidance over constant handholding.
Now let's be real for a second. To be fair, this model is not for everyone. So let's be honest about when it might not be the right choice for you. If you're thinking, no way, I really want an agent to be with me at every single showing, or maybe if you're completely new to Houston and you need extensive in-person tours just to figure out which neighborhood you even like, then yeah, the very hands-on concierge approach of a traditional agent might be a much better match for your expectations.
So regardless of which model you're leaning towards, how do you make sure you're hiring the right person for the job?
Okay, here's your toolkit. No matter who you interview, flat fee or traditional, ask them these 5 questions. Get really clear answers on their services, how they handle showings and negotiations, and especially how they manage Houston-specific risks like flooding. Honestly, their process matters way more than the label on their fee structure.
So after all of this, it all comes down to this one question. As a first-time home buyer in Houston, you have to ask yourself, is the way my agent gets paid actually truly align with my goals? Answering that question honestly, well, that's the key to making the right choice for your future home and for your finances.
Cat Realty Group. True flat fee, outstanding representation.